The Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre by Philip Fracassi was genuinely, I think, one of my favorite slashers I've ever read. I think slashers, due to the inherent nature of, everyone getting picked off, are somewhat predictable. But I do like to see a genre subversion, and the fact that this takes place in a retirement home really just kind of changes the entire narrative of what a slasher normally is. We normally have young high school kids or college kids, and that's kind of like where this genre gets its bread and butter, but this is completely different, and I loved everything about it. We have a final girl in her 70s. We have, a whole bunch of older 70 to 80-year-old victims who are smart enough to figure out what's happening to them, and some of them are smart enough to even record their murder and try to get the murderer caught. And so I really liked this subversion because I feel like it flipped on its head the idea that victims and slashers are often, kind of dumb. They just the joke is let's run back into the dark house with the chainsaws while the murderer is chasing after us, that kind of jokey vibe and everything. This is really just, they are a group of people who are not being supported by the community. They know that something's wrong, and the police are not listening to them or taking them seriously, and therefore they try to solve this on their own. And in that process, we really see how smart all of these adults are. It's truly really fun to see. But our main characters, Rose and Miller, are probably the smartest of the bunch. They know exactly what's happening, and I really enjoy their relationship with each other. And I loved Rose's relationship also with her daughter. She's fiercely protective of her child, and so the way that comes into play in this book also is super, super interesting. So I really liked this one. If you're looking for a fun slasher, that it is a little bit gory, I will be honest. Obviously there are some descriptions of unaliving happening here. However, they are creative in some ways because this killer is trying to, stay under the radar to a certain degree. They want it to look like an accident, and, keep the police kind of guessing it's just an old people home, old people die. And so it's a very unique play on a slasher, and so I really enjoyed this. It's pretty hefty. It's not that small of a book. It's 400 some pages, but I enjoyed every minute of it. And I think, for what it is, and as I said, slashers can be predictable, even though I feel like I knew what was going to happen, it still had me bated breath, holding my breath, being what's going to happen? Even though I could predict it, I still was I hope. So with that in mind, should you pick this up? I think so.